Hello, 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 and thank you for joining us with the movement. We are the movement, a motivational organization geared to educate minds, empower, nurture, and transform. And as Annette so affectionately says as she rolls her neck, we are a movement to move. Did I do it right, Annette?
Yes, you did.
Movement to
Awesome.
move.
Every syllable. Move.
Yes, we want to help you thrust into your purpose so that you can start living your best life and win. We've tapped into some winner's concept and a winner's mindset. We're sitting at a winner's table, and we want you to join us. We want to see everybody win. Right, Annette?
That is right, Anita. And we are excited about tonight. We are in the winner's circle, and we come making our laps, and we almost to the finish line. So come with us tonight.
That's it. That's it, good people. Well, tonight we have a great topic and we're excited about diving into this discussion. We want to do some talking tonight about, we have a topic and it's called your marching orders, as you all saw on our email. And technically, when we're talking about marching orders, we're talking about orders that come from a superior officer. This is what the technical definition is. For you to depart or to start your mission. But it can also be used as a term to send you on your way, like if you have been fired from your job and you get your marching orders.
Yeah.
So either way, it's an instructional phrase used to promote forward movements. All of us on here are visionaries. Whether you're doing something with that vision or not, that's up to you. And, hopefully you are. And most of you, if you're coming and joining us every week, it means that you have something that you've envisioned yourself doing and you are a visionary. You have a purpose and you have a vision and you're working towards it. But I want you to understand something, that those who have a vision, we've been given a vision, but we're also ultimately given marching orders. And with those orders, you need strategy. When you've been given the order to move, you need a strategy. You need a plan. That's why it's important to take the time and effort to write the vision and come up with a plan of action. See, in the business world or in the regular world or in life in general, a good strategy is often the difference between success and failure. If you have a good strategy, you will succeed. If you don't have a plan, 9 times out of 10, whatever you're doing is going to flop. I've known many situations where a person has gone into something, have a great idea. I mean, an awesome idea. You see the big picture. And then when you get started, you realize, oh, I could give you an example. This is a really weird example, but it just came to me because it really fits. When I was 18, 19 years old, I got my first apartment. Oh, I was so excited. I want to be grown. I want to have my own everything. My mama, I should have known something was up when my mama said, "You want your bedroom set?" I was like, wait, hold up. When I thought about it after a while, like, what am I gonna come back home to? She was willing to clean out my room and she gave me my bedroom set from out of my room. And she was like, "So you want your bedroom set?" And I was like, "Yeah. I need some pots. You got some pots I can." So when you leave your mama's house, you're probably gonna take a pot or two. I think I went to my mama's kitchen. I got a couple of pots and some cups and some plates and I got me a little bit of everything. I'm like, okay, I got all I need. I went to the store, bought some hot dogs and French fries. I'm gonna cook my own food. I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. So I got ready to cook. I didn't have any utensils. I had the big picture in mind, freedom. I'm able to do what I want to do, stay up as late as I want, go out and wherever I want to go. Nobody can tell me what to do, where to go, what time to come home. But I didn't even have a fork. I had thought it out. I didn't have a plan. I didn't have a strategy. So oftentimes we'll get into stuff where we don't really have a plan. We don't really have a strategy. So I want us to get to the point that we realize that when we have that vision and when we've been given instructions or been given a dream, we have to sit down and make sure that the strategy is in place. Because what you've been given is a marching order. Now, of course, I'm going to give us our little English lesson for tonight. And when I looked at the word marching orders, it actually comes out when you put the words together as a plural noun, because orders has a S on the end, but it can also be a plural verb because you have two nouns or two verbs together. And in this case, I'm using them as a verb to march and a verb orders. So when I look at the word march, it means in the intransitive state to make steady progress. In the transitive, it means to cover by marching, or another word is to traverse, which means to travel. But when I look at orders, it means to command. Intransitively, it means to command. Okay, when you take in an order, somebody's giving you a command. But in the transitive state, it means to destine or ordain. So when you've been given the command to make steady movement, it's because it is towards your destiny and you are ordained to travel there.
Okay.
That's your marching order. So you see the vision. You see what you're supposed to do. You see what you're supposed to have, Annette. You see it. You've written down business plans. Yeah. I know you. You've gotten down, you've jotted down a gazillion things. You got a million things on a piece of paper here, and on your computer there, and in your phone here. So you got all this stuff. You got all of these plans and strategies put together. And when you've been given the marching orders, it's because it's a command that you were given to make steady progress, to travel, because you are traveling towards what you are destined and ordained to do.
Yeah,
that's a marching order. So I want to open up our presentation tonight as we get started in this discussion, because, you know, when I look at it, I was like, man, that's amazing. We've been given this. We've been given this opportunity. You know, what God gave me, he didn't give to you. And what he gave to you, Annette, he didn't give to me.
Yeah.
But what we have in itself is unique. And when we look at that thing from a military standpoint, is when you've been given a marching order, you don't have a choice.
True.
Because you signed up for that. You enlisted. And when you enlisted in gifts, and when you enlisted in Annettisms, and when you enlisted in everything that you set out to do, Annette, hey girl, the movement, walking it out, even your book, your printed work that you're working on, when you enlisted for all of that, and you were given the marching orders, you did not have a choice. That's why you can't stop working on it. You can't stop jotting stuff down. You can't stop typing stuff up. You can't stop researching. You can't stop thinking about it. You can't stop getting frustrated about it. What you don't have, oh my God, I wish I had the money to do this and that. Why? Because it's a marching order. You're destined and ordained for it. And when you enlist in that army towards all of those things that you're destined for, when you've been given the order, you don't have a choice. You have the tools, you have the equipment, you have the training, and all you have to hear is forward march. And what you have to do? You have to march.
Gotta march.
You have to move.
Ooh, gotta move.
So when I look at this, it's like, okay, this is interesting. This is interesting to me because, for one thing, I know what I'm destined to do. Yes. I know what, of course, I don't have a problem working in my journey. I don't have a problem working towards what God told me to do because, I know ultimately, out of everything that God gives me to do, he gets the glory. And I know that because I have said yes, because I enlisted, everything that I'm supposed to do and have, I call me a fool. I just said this today. Call me foolish. I don't care. But I believe God. I
Yeah.
do. I believe God. I don't believe anything else. I don't have anything else to fall back on. I believe God. And if that's you today, if you feel the way I do, I want you to type that in. I believe God. I believe God. He said it, and that settles it. And if he gave it to you, Sharon, you have to still believe when nobody else does. You have to believe that, Annette.
Yeah.
You have to believe, Valerie. And I do. I'm there. I believe God. And I'm not going to stop believing. I'm going to stay right there because I know that he's a God that cannot lie, and he will never, has never, and will never fail me. But one of the things that we don't do, you know, when we start looking at when we've been given the command forward, march, one of the things that we fail to do is outcome thinking.
Hmm.
Outcome thinking. Outcome thinking is when you focus on the end result and all that comes with the final successes. Even though you have to move through the process, but your focus is on the end result. So you have outcome thinking. You're not going to stumble and just fall into success. No, it's a thought out process. Even though you have to follow the process, you have a roadmap. Your destination has a beginning and it has an ending in mind, and you have a destiny in this particular place that you are, in this particular part of your journey. You have a destination, and when you get to that destination, you have a whole new beginning. But you have a roadmap that you have to follow. So after developing the vision of what success looks like to you, and for what, you know, whatever the program or your life or whatever goals you have set, and you write them down and study them, you make them a part of your action or thought that you, about every action or thought that you have as it pertains to that. Your outcome thinking means I know that I might not be there yet, but the outcome of what I'm walking in is going to be what I see all the way down there. When you set out to do your hair, when I take this bun down, it don't look like this, trust me. I came downstairs the other day with my hair out of the bun, and one of my artists was looking at me like, oh my God. I said, I know, I was actually trying to do my hair upstairs and you came early. And I had to go and put it in, you know, under submission of the ponytail holder. But when I went and put my hair in the bun, it came out. It's like, oh, okay, it's really cute. Yeah, but it didn't look like that in the beginning. But I knew what it was going to look like once I got it all brushed up and I put the ponytail holder on. I knew what my hair was going to look like. That's outcome thinking. So even though you're not there, Annette, it might not, you're not there, but you're following the roadmap to get there.
Yeah.
That's outcome thinking. The next thing is your day-to-day strategies are building blocks.
Oh, okay.
Those day-to-day, and that's why it's important to put some time and some thought daily into your vision.
Yeah.
Because as you put those things in motion daily, and we all are guilty of not, because I'm telling you, it gets that frustrating sometimes that you just want to curl up in the bed and just turn the lights off and watch Netflix all day. Been that many times.
Yeah.
Many times. And I get nothing done. And then I get to a point where it gets frustrating. And I'm like, oh God, why did I just waste like 2 or 3 days? Okay, God, I'm going to get up. And I'm a good one for getting up, brushing off, and getting back on the horse. I have to do it all the time. It is very hard. And I know you said this earlier, that you can motivate anybody else, but it's so hard to self-motivate. And it is. Yeah. That is why if you don't make it a part of your daily routine to affirm yourself, you will fall into the rut that you just won't. And your day-to-day, you get nothing done. You won't even build yourself. But when you can day to day affirm, those are the building blocks of your strength. When you day to day have something that you work on, you remember you say you try to write a little something every day. You try to work on something every day. So whatever you're doing from day to day is building that whole process. A building doesn't start off being a building. No, it's laid one brick at a time.
Yeah, true.
So every day that they're doing something on that building, the next thing you know, you look up 2 or 3 weeks later, you start seeing the structure. And you're like, wow, they put that building up fast. No, they didn't. They've been working on that building. When you just saw rocks and cranes out there digging into the ground, that was a process. It was part of the process. Even before that, when they were getting all of the permits, it's all a part of the process. So when you finally see the structure, that's after all of that work, and sometimes months and months before you even get the foundation laid. But your day-to-day strategies are those building blocks, and before you know it, you have built an empire. Come on, people, forward march. We are marching here. You have marching orders, and it does not stop until they say company halt. And if you haven't heard that in your vision and in your purpose, then you are still moving.
Come on now.
The next thing is you have to have short and long-term goals.
That is true.
Because there are some short-term goals, some things that you can do right now. But a lot of times we want our long-term goals to be the short-term goals. Oh, I want $1 million. Okay, all right. Okay, slow your roll. What about that $5 thing that you can do? What about what's free? Just like when we started out, Annette, we started with what was free. Everything was free. The free apps, the internet with Facebook and Instagram, all of that was free. Yep. We didn't start investing until we started to, okay, we got to go on Zoom. So now we got to pay a monthly fee for that. We got to pay for the website. We got to pay for this. We got to pay for that. So we have some things that we can do right now that doesn't require a whole lot. Yes. So we had those short-term goals. By this time, we're going to have this done. And by that time, we're going to have that done. And by this time, we're going to have that time. And then we have the long-term goals that once we get all of this little stuff built up and going and running smoothly, then we can turn the corner and we can really start moving towards this thing.
That's right.
So you have to still, in the process of your strategy, your building, your outcome thinking, you have to set goals and meet them. Put a date on them. If you set a goal, put a date. And if you pass the date, change the date. Don't just throw the goal away. No, pull the paper out and just change the dates. Just change the dates. That's all. It's still doable. Amen. The next thing is you have to have consistency. And in the march, in the movement, like I said, you're not stopping. Once you get moving, you don't stop. You continue to move. You're the one who said, God told me that I'm supposed to have, hey girl, you're the one who said I'm supposed to have a catering business and started buying all that equipment, Sharon. You're the one who said it, Anita, that you're supposed to be a transformational coach and that you're supposed to be doing speaking engagements all over the country. So if you're supposed to do it, where your speech is at, where your stuff at, where your strategies, where's your networking? What are you doing to get to that place? Or are you standing there just keeping time, mark time? No, it ain't mark time. You said forward march. See, mark time is when you're standing in place and you just moving your feet. But you haven't been given that command. You were given forward march. You are still moving. You're supposed to be moving. You're not supposed to be in the same place. So let's keep it moving, people.
Come on now.
Keep it moving. Don't stop. Just because it doesn't look the way you think it's supposed to look, just because you don't have right now what you thought you were supposed to have, do what you can do right now. But keep the ball rolling, because obviously you are right in the center of what you're supposed to be doing, Annette.
Oh, man.
You're there. You're in the center of it. You're in the thick of it. But see, it's right there where people always want to throw in the towel. And usually, because you can't see the finish line, sometimes you might be an eighth of a centimeter away from it.
Wow.
And you just throw it in like, oh God, I'm done. Oh God. And then you realize later, oh, I was all the way right there. I didn't realize. Can I start over? All righty, man. So I want you guys to, to really grasp that one.
Yes. Boots made for walking. When you look at this picture here and you see the boots, and they really don't serve a purpose because the soldiers don't have their feet in them. So if you're going to get to the next level, you got to walk. You got to put on your boots and start moving. In 1960, I think it was in 1966, Nancy Sinatra, for those of us who kind of know Nancy Sinatra, she sung a song, Boots Are Made for Walking. It said, boots are made for walking. Tell you what I'm going to do. One of these days is boots. They're going to walk all over you. So if you're going to get to the next level, your boots got to get moving. You got to get to the next level. You got to put on your boots. Like we always say, put on your big girl panties, but you got to put on your boots and start moving. Mm-hmm. Because what's the point of having boots? It's just sitting there. There's a function for the boots, but they're just sitting there because we haven't did what we needed to do. In other words, we need to put our feet in the boots, strap up the boots, and get moving. Mm-hmm. So we got a vision and a dream, but it's just sitting there because we have not did what we needed to do. Mm-hmm. I mean, the dream is there. It's beautiful. It's sent to the corner, but it's there for decorations. Mm-hmm. So it's time to get moving. Boots made for walking. The first thing I see when I was looking at this, and I was thinking, I'm like, what's the purpose of boots? I mean, I know we put them on and we walk, and and I was trying to figure it out from an army perspective and thinking about all that stuff. But you know what I thought about it? I said, once I put my boots on, then I'm gonna have to learn how to dig deep. Because now I'm walking, where am I going? What's the point of putting on the boots if I don't have a strategy? I don't have anywhere to go. I don't know where I'm going. So with my boots on, I'm gonna have to learn how to dig deep. I know I got a mission. I know I got a vision. I know I've been called. I know the hand of God is on me. But now what? I've done the surface stuff. I need to mention some of the things that we've done, even with our organization. But now it's time to dig deep. It's time to go further than the surface. One of the first things you have to do to dig deep, you have to have someone to hold you accountable. Nita hold me accountable for certain things when it comes to this organization. She holds me accountable because I believe if I didn't have anybody to hold me accountable, I'm wondering, would I dig deep? Would I really go further? Would I stop? I don't know. But because somebody's holding me accountable, say, you got this, somebody encouraging me. And then you got to go the extra mile. You got to go a little further. Mm-hmm. You can't do what you do on your regular job. Like, I'm just going to do just what they tell me. 9 times out of 10, I'm not going to do anything extra. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to do anything past what I'm supposed to do, my assignment for that day. But if you're going to dig deep, then that means you're going to have to go the extra mile. You may have to go in your pocket. I don't know. I don't know what it is, but you're going to have to learn how
exactly
to go that extra mile. I'm going to do my due diligence. It don't matter what I have on my paper, but this is my vision and my dream. And you got to prioritize things. You just can't be willy-nilly. You got to have a vision. You got to have it written down. You got to know where you're going. So, and I saw this quote when I was really looking and studying. It said, without struggles, success have no value. So when you digging deep and when you look back and you look at the struggle and you look at the heartache and the disappointment, I don't think I can make it like this. Oh, I ain't gonna make it. But then one day you look back and you'll see the success that you had. Mm-hmm. So learn how to dig deep. But not only that, you need to be creative. You have to have a vision, your formation and moral and ethical compass. You got to learn, think, and adapt. You got to balance your risks and the opportunities. You got to come up with other innovative ideas. You got to look further than just what's in front of you. You may have to go and do research on what other people are doing. So you have to be creative. I'm always thinking about, even when I write my quotes, what can I say different? And when I write a quote, I try to always write when I find some pictures that I think that line up with the quotes. So I try to be creative. So first people will see, then they'll read. So you got to be creative, because I write so much that I don't want people to say, oh, here she come again, you know. So I had to come up with innovative ideas, and what am I trying to convey? I don't want to just write quotes so I can sound smart or cute. I want to write something that can be thought-provoking. Something that maybe can change your life. I've read quotes that made a difference in my life. So I had to be creative with this with the movement, this organization. We had to be creative. We had to come up with some other ideas. We had to figure out some things. So, you know, we wrote our first book, and we're on our second book, and we're doing some other things that we will be sharing in 2020. So we had to be creative, you know, because there's a lot out there, and there's a lot of people doing a lot of things. So we want to make sure that when they see our logo, it pops, regardless of what you think about the organization. You may not ever heard about the organization, but you're like, oh, the movement. And so that's why you have to be very creative. Not only that, you got to be committed. You got to be doing this thing in long haul. You have to be committed. And sometimes it could be almost overbearing, but you got to be committed because it's your baby. I know when I was pregnant with my first child, and I remember thinking, like, because number one, to be honest, I didn't want to be pregnant, but you know, once it got to a certain point, I felt the baby move, then I became committed. I said, okay, now I have this responsibility. I'm gonna bring a life into the world. Now this person is gonna need me, gonna be looking up to me, and so I got to change the way I think. I got to change a lot of things, and that's how we have to do with our organization, our baby. We have to be committed. Now that you have it, like you said earlier, Anita, you said that you've been called. So now because you made that declaration, private and publicly. So in that case, you got to say, okay, I got to be committed to this thing. I got to like even coming on Zoom sometime. I'm sure, you know, Nita have hectic days, so she got to do all her stuff and put the program together, and, you know, send me an email, and, you know, I send her an email. So we have to be committed to this thing. We have to be committed if it's only me and her on here. Some days it may not be that many people. Some days it may be more, but we have to be committed. Why? Because we said that God said. And so not only, like I said a few minutes ago, not only did we say privately, but we didn't put it out there now. And so regardless of who shows up or don't show up, we appreciate everybody who come on, but we got to be here unless something happens, and we just can't. So you have to be committed to that. And there may be some times you may have to go in the room and cry, say, God, God, I know you called me.
I know, right?
You told me. God, I believe you. You know, and what that does is kind of innovate. I mean, you know, get you ready and get you to push you and just to get you going and get that blood pumping. I said, whew, okay, I'm past it. I'm committed to this baby, and I'm going to see this to the end. And you know, and same thing when I was pregnant, I was going to see it to the end. She was born, and when I took one look at that little girl, I said, first thing I said is I don't know if she's on here, but anyway, first thing I said was, dang, she's not cute at all.
Your child is on here.
But she is. Oh, well. I said, she's not cute, but she's mine. And I'm committed to raising her, and I'm committed to doing the best that I can. And I remember my grandmother wanted her. And, you know, of course, I was 15, 16. But I had made a commitment that this was my baby. This is what God had given me. And that's the same way that we should be, like, this is my baby. I'm going to be committed to the end. And I kept her and I raised her. And I thank God that looking back now, because of her, I have 5, you know, beautiful grandkids. So just be committed regardless.
You know what, Annette? My mama used to always tell me the story about when I was born, I was peeling. My skin was peeling. And so I looked really weird. And when they brought me to her, they had my hair combed down, and I looked like a little Chinese baby, and she had to comb my hair back. And when Valerie's daddy came to the hospital and looked down in the crib, he said, "Ooh, that's one ugly baby." So I wasn't cute either, Yolanda. I got cute after.
Yeah, because I know Yolanda remember this when Jermaine, my oldest grandson, saw a picture. He was, I don't know how old he was, maybe 4 or 5. And it was this picture of Elena, and it wasn't a cute picture. And he was a little boy, and I remember him saying, "Ugly baby." I don't know what it was. My point is, we have to learn how to be committed regardless. Because, you know, other people, other people may not see the beauty in what you're doing.
Right.
May not see what you're seeing.
They're not going to see it.
The baby, but it was my baby, and I was like, I saw potential. I saw potential, and that's how we have to be with what we've been called to do. And also, we need to choose limitlessness.
Limitlessness. That's a word for you.
It's a process of unrestricted, where you don't have anything to hinder you. You're not bound by the four walls. That you choose to be different. You choose to follow a road that maybe others have not followed. See, there are those who will travel roads that's already been paved, and there are those who will be trailblazers.
Come on now.
Yeah, we cut down the trees, and it may be a dirt road, but and so you have to be fearless, and you have to go even when somebody else say it can't be done. Well, maybe it can't be done because it was waiting for me to do it. So you have to know that this thing is limitless. What you can do, there's no limit. There's no restriction. You can do it, but you have to take responsibility for your responsibility for yourself, because of you're not limited, but you got to be responsible. So you have a responsibility to yourself, and you have to tell yourself, I can do this. Now, I know nobody else has done it, and if they did do it, they're not going to do it like I did it, because I will not let life, I will not let money, I will not let job, I will not let family restrict me from going and walking into my destiny. And we have to persevere, and we got to be willing to go to the next level. We got to be willing to be limitlessness. So it's a process of being unrestricted. When you limit yourself, what you're telling God, this is as far as I can go. So if you understand that, if you don't limit yourself, the possibilities are just mind-boggling. You could not have told me May 14th of last year that we would be this far. I'll be honest. I thought we were going to do a couple of videos, and I was going to faint about 100 times every time I do one. And, we're going to clap. So cute. Oh, that's so cute. But no, then it started, we went to the next level. And after a while, things started coming together. Why? Because we were not limited. We did not, it had no restrictions. And we're going to try this. We tried one thing, it didn't work. Well, sometimes, it don't work. But just know, choose limitlessness. And I guarantee you'll begin to see stuff that you've never seen and do things that you've never done. Because I would have never, when I say never, did a video. No, because I don't like to hear myself talk. So, boots made for walking. And next we have boots on the ground. That refers to the active military personnel who are physically present and fighting in a war zone. If you live on this earth, you're fighting in a war zone.
You sure are.
It may not be where you can see it, but there's a fight going on. You have to fight every day. I was thinking about Tyler Perry, and he, all the wonderful stuff that's gone on with him. You do know that was not an easy role for him. There are so many doors was closing that man's face, because he said Hollywood did not get him. So what God did for him, God has a humor. He opened up a door that nobody else had walked through and created something
exactly
that nobody else had done. And so we have to have examples like that, because you may not do what Tyler Perry done, but whatever your vision is, whatever your dream is. Look, I think that place he's at was a Confederate organization, a Confederate.
It was a Confederate ground, yes.
Thank you. So that's enough right there to blow your mind. A Confederate, that this black man is just walking in the greatness. So that kind of stuff lets you know there's a fight. He had to fight, and just like he has to fight, we have to fight. Every day is a fight. When I get up in the morning, I have to fight. I have to fight. Sometimes even fight myself to get to the next level. I have to encourage myself. I had to tell myself, you got this. It's a constant battle. And so it's a boots on the ground, y'all. It's time for your boots to get on the ground. It's a fight going on, and you got just what it takes to win. You know, I think when I was young, you know how when well, Nita, you may not know, I'm a little older than you, but when I was growing up, one of the things we did, they didn't shoot you and all that stuff. It would be somebody standing in the like one person on one side, one person on the other side, and then somebody would be standing in the middle with dirt.
Baddest man.
And I told this before, and the baddest one hit the dirt. Well, because I really was so thin, I couldn't really fight. I'm not gonna lie. I would always make sure I hit the dirt first, get it in the person's eye, so I can get, whatever I'm gonna do it quick. I'm gonna hit, stick, and move. So, so sometime in life you gotta hit, stick, and move. There's a fight going on, and the first thing I see is adaptive, the ability to change to suit different conditions. You cannot be so rigid that you are not willing to adapt and change. If we had not adapt and if we had not changed to suit a different condition, I promise you, we would not be here tonight.
Exactly.
So, we would not have been here, at least not in this arena. But we had to learn how to change and suit the different conditions, because things change, and that's just life. That's why there's a war going on. You have to adapt. You have to learn how to persevere. You have to learn how to get around stuff. You have to learn how to go through stuff, go under. And so we had to adapt. And I dare say, even in our lives today, in your mission or your dreams or your vision, you got to learn how to adapt. You got to look at that dream and that vision. Every now and then, you got to go back and look and say, okay, maybe I need to tweak it here. Maybe I need to change it there. Be willing to adapt. Be open-minded. Don't be so rigid and just think you know it all. Because I don't care. You don't know it all. You may have a brilliant dream and a brilliant vision, but you got to learn how to adapt.
Exactly.
To what's going on. Because if you don't adapt, you'll stay in that place. What if you're riding down the road and God say go right? I've done it. Go right. But you really want to go left. But because I heard I've gone right, because I figure if I believe he's saying that means that there's a different condition that's on the other side. And so we have to learn how to adapt. But also
I just said that today to an artist. I was on a meeting on a conference call, and they were saying how you can't get so stuck that when something spontaneous happens, that you're not able to adapt to the move that's happening right then, because it may be something that, we don't see it until we get to that point, even though we have a plan, we have, things that we know that we're going to do. But sometimes the current just changes and you have to just change course a little, or something spontaneous just happens and pops up and it's something that's going to be amazing. And so you just jump on the wave and you ride it and you just adapt to the surroundings. And so that, a lot of times people do miss that, and that they miss the fact of, things don't look the way you thought it was supposed to look. It may not work the way you thought it was going to work, or the way you had already planned it out in your mind. Yeah. It just doesn't happen that way, but you adapt to the way things ended up going. And then you take control of the narrative, you take control of the situation, and you think, and therefore you're staying on course and you're still moving.
Yeah, because I know, especially in what you do, when they go into the studios, and I'm sure they sing a song certain way, and somebody may come in and say, well, you know what, don't hit that note, go. I mean, I don't know the terminology. Maybe you sang this, or go that way, and and maybe in their mind, it's my baby. I wrote this song. I've been singing this song for 5 years, but you got to learn how to adapt, because maybe that person is more in tune to you and say, yeah, I know you want to hit that note there, but maybe you should be a little softer there. So yeah, we have to learn how to adapt. Next, we have to learn how to be flexible. Flexible is capable of bending without breaking.
Oh, come on. That's a good one.
I've been in that situation where I was bending, but I didn't break. So flexibility, it means that, this thing is hard. This is tough. It don't look like it's coming to pass. I don't know what I'm going to do. Oh, I've been crying, but I'm bending, but I'm not breaking. And you know what? If you think about it, it's sort of like when the hurricane came, I watched my tree. I have a tree in the yard. I mean, that thing was bending, but it never broke. And
Mm-hmm.
that's how we are sometimes, Anita. We are flexible. We're capable of bending without breaking. And I want to encourage somebody tonight that regardless of what it looks like, you may be bending. It may not look like it's going to come to pass, but I dare tell you that you won't break. You got to understand that that's the purpose of going through things, because, you have to go through, because you will appreciate it more once you get to the end, and everything just don't go where we want it to go. And so, I bend a little bit, and I'm saying, but I don't break. Don't break. So regardless of what it looks like, that be flexible, that you're not going to break. You're going to bend, but you're not going to break. You're going to be disappointed, but you're not going to break. You're not going to break. So hang in there, because the boots on the ground could be tough, because now we still fighting a war, and you don't see it, but you're fighting. So that's why you have to be flexible. So when you get hit by the enemy, you may wobble a little bit, but you don't have to break. So learn how to be flexible. Next is being agile. It's able to move quickly and easily. So you have to learn how to move quick. When you're fighting, if you ever see one of my favorite boxers, which I'm not a boxing fan, but back in the day when boxing was more popular, I used to love Float Like a Butterfly. And then he would move, right? He would move quick and easily, And I mean, there was time when Muhammad Ali got beat, of course it was, but he was so smooth. And what he did, and what I love what Muhammad Ali did, he got in their head. He got in their head. And so, he would talk all that noise and talk all that trash, and he could back up what he said.
I'm pretty.
Yeah, I'm pretty. Yeah, look, I'm pretty. Yeah, but he was quick and easy. And so we have to learn how to be like that. There are so many different ways that we have to be in this walk, because again, we got a fight going on. And so Muhammad Ali, I know I hate people talk all that trash, but if you're gonna talk it, then back it up. But he was able to back a couple times. He got his wrong beat, but that's what I loved about him. He was very, he knew who he was.
Mm-hmm.
Knew he was, and he knew how to get to people.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to know that. But also, there's one more that I need to do, is versatile, able to change easily. Simple as that. You got to be able to change easily. You got boots on the ground. When I get up in the morning, I don't know what I'm going to face for the day. I know there's a war going on. I may have gone to bed the night before, everything was fine, and get up the next morning. I got to hop, skip, and punch. So you got to be able to change easily, because you don't know what you're going to face each day. With Anita, I love to use her because, again, she has a lot of jobs, so she don't know some days what job she may have to do.
Okay.
No, you don't, because your phone may ring and that's somebody want a voice lesson. The phone may ring and somebody maybe want some of your artists to go in the studio. The phone, you may be cooking, preparing the food that you prepare, and the list go on and on and on and on and on. So you got to be able to change easily, put on different hats. And that's how it is with boots on the ground. You got to be able to be versatile, because if you're not versatile, you'll never really walk in the goodness, and you will never really appreciate your organization. You'll never appreciate your vision. Like, I love the movement because it's versatile, and every Wednesday we have a different topic. And so every Wednesday we got to switch, we got to change, we got to say, okay, what we're going to talk about. And a lot of times what we're talking about, it'll be a particular subject, but we take that subject and we tie it into real life. So you have to be versatile. So just know it's time to put boots on the ground. There's a fight going on.
Got to put the boots on the ground. Man, that's some good stuff. And the thing is, Annette, there was so much in there, so much stuff to unpack, because it's like,
I know.
It's like, It's crazy because I was looking back at, even some of my notes when you were talking. And the one thing that really, really got me tonight that you said was about the flexibility and how, I may bend, but I won't break.
Yeah.
And as, and most of us really, we will yell ouch for the tiniest little prick.
Yeah.
And it's only the beginning of what you will experience. You have to get, your skin has to thicken.
Yeah.
And you have to be the type of person who will, no matter what, you're going to tough it out. It's like a lot of times we get so caught up in the moment that we give so much credit to the problem that we fail to give credit to the vision and to the purpose and to the one who instilled the vision in you. We put so much emphasis on the wind, but we're not even looking at the fact that the tree ain't breaking.
Yeah.
We giving the wind all the credit and the tree just bending and flexing and bending and whipping, and then the next day the tree is still standing, but the wind is gone.
Yeah.
So who won?
That's a good point.
There's
a lot to unpack. That's a message right there in itself.
What are you saying? I was listening to that I was like, that'll preach right there. So in all of this, of course, we have to keep the cadence. The cadence is that motion. Okay. And when a military situation is in a cadence, they're all like, it's like, if you hear, like, if you ever visited an Army base, or if you've ever, like, I was in ROTC and we used to have to drill and everything. But when you hear like a certain amount of feet hitting the ground at the same time, there is just something to that. There's a power in that. And when your cadence is steady and there's nothing that can interrupt with that, man, let me tell you, there's some power there. And I want you to understand this. When you're in that process, that your cadence is going and that you're moving and that you're hearing those feet hit the ground, boom, 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 and everything is moving in order. And it's sometimes that vision will outrun you and you got to catch up.
Yeah.
It's just like, we jumped out here and we're like, oh, Lord, wait a minute. We got to do it again. It's Wednesday again.
Oh, gosh.
And one thing that it will surely teach you how to do as you are keeping the cadence in this thing is that it will surely teach you how to manage your personal growth. And then it's good for you to look at that, because a lot of times like I said, we give more credit to the wind than we do the tree. And when you actually look back, when Annette was saying some stuff tonight, when we look back to May 14th of last year to this point now, it's like, what? Like, really? I look sometimes at our YouTube and I'm amazed. I go through the folder and look at the lessons that we have consistently built, full of information, and I'm amazed. I look at my books, plural, that I have written when this time last year, it was just a thought, and I'm amazed.
Yeah.
And when I can look at that and manage my personal growth, that's one of the things that will help you get that boost that you need. Sometimes we're looking for other people to affirm us, and we're looking for somebody to pat us on the back and tell us, good job, atta girl, atta boy. But sometimes you have to look at your own situation. If you would just look, just take a moment and reflect. And you'd be like, what? This little girl from Daytona did all of that? And give yourself the credit and keep moving. The cadence doesn't stop. You don't stop and chill. I remember while I was watching this the other night, Love and Basketball, Sanaa Lathan. I love that movie. When she rushed down court and she was, and this is when she was in college. And she rushed down court to shoot the ball, and she actually got it. And this was like, she was a freshman. She was being picked on, and she made the shot. And she was standing there holding her hand up like this, just looking and admiring the moment. And everybody was all the way back on the other side of the court. And the coach started fussing at her, saying, you don't have time to sit there and revel in your moment because it keeps moving. The game is still going. And you sitting down here posing, looking at, ooh, that was good. and everybody's gone. The team has gone back to the other side of the court and they've scored because you weren't on your post. And that's what you have to do. Even though you're managing your personal growth, you can't get stuck sitting there watching your own movie. Sometimes you have to reflect, yeah, but you guess what? You still have to keep the cadence.
Yep.
Because it's going to keep moving whether you're moving or not. And the one thing you don't want to do is let the vision get away from you. Manage the personal growth, but keep that cadence. The other thing is you have to stay organized. If you ever notice, when you see military people going off to their mission, they have this one backpack, and it's so big, but it's full of everything that they need. You don't see them walking around like, bag lady, you don't hurt your back, with like 20 bags. Have you ever seen that person that's going on, that get on the plane like they used to ride the bus when you go on a church trip? Okay, yeah, the person who come on a church trip and they got like their whole bedroom. And they come in on the bus with hair rollers and a cooler and slippers and a blanket and a pillow and all this stuff. And it's like, where you going? You got one seat. And you carrying so much stuff and it's so unorganized and just straggly. And then by the end of the trip, they stuff all over the bus, done rolled down and on Sister So-and-so seat. Did you see a pillow? You know, it's like, but if you keep your stuff organized, I used to say this to Katie all the time when we traveling, her suitcase starts off wonderful. And halfway through the trip, it's a chaotic mess. I'm like, Katie, what, you can't even see nothing in this suitcase. What is the problem? She said, no, but I kind of know where everything is. No, you can't possibly. Because every time you go in there, you got to do this. When if you just keep stuff structured and organized, you can go right to it. And sometimes in our purpose, in our vision, when we're working, our thoughts and stuff are all over the place. We don't have a structure. We don't have the organization, and that's one of the things that's going to keep you in line. See that military line, they're in a straight line. They're following the person in front of them. They're taking a step at a certain degree, and they're moving at a certain pace. That's keeping everything organized. It keeps them in the right cadence. And in your vision, in your purpose, in your business, as you're managing growth, as you're moving forward, as you're striving, as you're adapting, you have to stay organized, Marcellus. You have to stay organized, Annette, Sharon. You have to keep the vision in front of you. You can't lose sight of it. And today you're on it, but tomorrow you forget about it. And 3 or 4 days later, oh, I think I'll go back and look at the business again. No, it's a daily thing. And you're constantly moving. So keep your structure, your business plan, your structure in front of you, because there is something that you have to do daily to keep that thing moving, because you have to keep the cadence. Next thing is you're keeping your rhythm. In that cadence is just that. When you're keeping that rhythm, you hear that man say, because I used to, Sergeant Crisp was the guy, at Mainland High School. And when he started, forward march, lap, 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 right, lap, I'm like, oh my God. I mean, he never left that pace. His rhythm was on point, right pace. And you have to make your turn at the right time. Half left, half right, half left. I mean, when they start calling out those commands back to back, I'm like, oh, about face left, right, half left, and about face, and boom. And I'm back in stride again. And that's how, that I'm telling you, drilling was something. I actually got a blue ribbon in drill when I was in middle school, when I went to the dance camp and they had a drill competition. And I made it all the way to the blue. I was the only one in my school who made it to blue. I think I was at Campbell then. And my dance instructor was Bessie Marshall. She's like, oh my God, we got somebody who's still on the floor. And it was just me and about maybe 4 other people. And I made it that far that I was almost down to the last. It was like 2 girls, and they gave that one of them got, I think that school got a trophy or something. But I was able to get my ribbon, and I was so happy because, I wanted like blue ribbons. I think I may have gotten 1 red ribbon in the whole thing. But it was like red, blue, and gold, and white. And I had all blue, and I think I had 1 red in something. But in that, I managed to keep my rhythm. And you have to listen. In order to keep that rhythm, you have to be attentive, you have to listen, and you have to be alert. Otherwise, you're going to get off step. So in your journey, in your job, in your business, in your organization, in your ministry, you have to listen, you have to be attentive, and you have to be alert. Otherwise, you're going to miss your rhythm. And my last one, that endurance training will keep you in stride. Yep. The race is not given to the swift nor to the strong, but to the one who can endure to the end. You have to endure. When you build yourself up with the right stuff, that's why it's important to get in that mirror every day. You have to affirm. You have to believe. You have to be strong. Trust me, it's hard. It's hard. I have a hard time almost daily at this thing, but I can't afford to not daily program my mind. That's why the Bible says that we ought to renew our mind daily. I have to. If I get up in the morning and I don't feel like it, I have to force myself. You are going to make it, girl. You're going to be all right. You're a winner. You are a winner, Anita. And I have to talk until it becomes comedic and funny, until it becomes serious, until I'm like, whoo, until I'm pumped up. It's the only way that I can get through the day sometimes. Yeah. So when you do that, that's endurance training. When you're prayerful, that's endurance training. When you're studying, that's endurance training. Yes. When you're working, when there's nothing to work, when you ain't even getting paid for it, that's endurance training. You got on-the-job training, endurance training, and it's your vision. It's your business. That's your seed. Sow it. Because that endurance training is what's going to keep you in stride. And if you stay in stride and keep the cadence, guess what? You're going to get to the destination because you're following your marching orders. Can I get a witness?
Amen.
That's some good stuff. That's some good stuff. And I typed this in earlier, and I don't know if anybody else did, but I want you to type it in because Annette said it, and I felt it in that moment. I'm a trailblazer. I want you to type that in. Because when I walk, when I'm in my stride, when I'm in my cadence, I want it to be that stream of fire behind me that everybody sees, like, what is that? I want them to know that Anita has been through there. I want them to know, she done been here. I'm a trailblazer, and I believe it. I don't care what nobody say. I know I set a trend. I know I set a trend. I know I am unique. I know I'm different, and I rejoice in that. It just is what it is. Can I get a witness up in here? How y'all feel tonight? Everybody feel good? You feeling like you can take those marching orders? You feel like you can move, Sharon? You feel like you can move, Yolanda, Marcellus, Valerie? You feel like you can move, Annette, Carrie?
Yes.
Forward, march, your left, your left. You feel like you can keep it up? Can you keep it up? Can you keep it up? I can, because I'm a trailblazer. And when I'm moving, everybody's going to know it.
Amen.
And that was a good one. So we want you guys to be encouraged with that, because it gets tough. If anybody want to say anything, you can unmute your mic. But it gets tough. Life is tough. So business is tough. Starting a movement, starting a ministry or organization, or just starting a new structured plan in life, anything, it's tough. But you can do it.
Yeah.
You can do it. You can endure. Just hang in there. Hang in there and just keep on moving. Keep on marching. Keep the cadence. All right, well, I'm going to stop the recording.